is Amna Mahmood, and for this assignment, I will be unpacking the schooling system of two school boards, which are public school boards and private school boards. Along with that, I will be explaining the goals and purposes of each school boards, policies that are unique to each school board, and my opinion on which school board is most effective to me as an Ontario teacher. Firstly, let's start off by looking into a publicly funded school board. Public school boards are funded by the government, where all students can attend free of cost. Whereas private school boards in Ontario operate as businesses or nonprofit organizations independently of the Ministry of Education and in accordance with the legal requirements established by Education Act. Unlike unlike private schools in other provinces, they do not receive any funding or other financial support from the government, and their fees for the students can range anywhere from 8,000 to 70,000. With private schools, the ministry does not regulate license, accredit, or otherwise oversee the operation of private schools, which means that parents or guardians would have to do the research before registering their children to private schools. With private schools, there is one major difference from public schools, which is that it only supports individuals that are strong both academically and financially. Although public schools also support these students, private schools are only targeted towards them. With that being said, there are no policies of private schools that show accommodations and modifications for children with special needs or specialized programs. Public schools offer specialized courses or programs, example, math, science, special needs, and the arts. All private schools that wish to operate in Ontario are required to complete and submit to the ministry the annual notice of intention to operate, also known as NOI. It sets out the ministry's policy requirements regarding the criteria for private schools and collects information such as the school's owner, principal, address, hours of instruction, and projected enrollment. They also have to go through through a validation process by the ministry, which then gets processed. Principals and teachers in private schools are not required to be certified by the Ontario College of Teachers. Certified teachers are listed on the college's public register at www.oct.ca, whereas in public schools, teachers and educators in Ontario are certified by the OCT, where their rights are being protected with many of the acts under the website. Under the OCT Act, it states that we will take steps to protect a member at any given time or circumstances. When comparing the goals and policies of private schools to public schools, we need to keep in mind that private schools do not receive any funding or other financial support from the Ontario government. Private schools private school operators set their own policies and procedures regarding the operation of their schools and are not obliged to comply with the policies and procedures that school boards must follow. For example, private schools are not required to use the Ontario curriculum unless they are seeking authority to grant credits toward the OSSD. In Ontario, private schools principals are not required to have Ontario principals qualifications, and teachers are not required to be members of the Ontario College of Teachers, also known as OCT, or have OCT certification. Private schools are not authorized to deliver correspondence courses, which are delivered through the Independent Learning Center (ILC). And private schools may, but are not required to communicate student achievement using the Elementary Provincial Report Card for grade 1 to 8 and for the Provincial Report Card from grades 9 to 12. Additionally, although private schools are not required to follow the procedures set out in the Education Act, they are required to follow the Ontario Human Rights Code. There are approximately 700 private schools in Ontario, most represented by associations uniting schools of a common goal, view, or philosophy. Having said all that, I believe the most effective school board for my teaching style would be a public system. I say this because, firstly, I would be certified under the Ontario's College of Teachers, which means my profession is protected by this act and we also receive benefits. Whereas teachers' salaries at private schools come out from their students' tuitions. In a public school, I can teach in various learning styles that will fit all needs of those children. Teachers will be exposed to a wide variety of students in a public school and their individual needs. This gives a teacher to grow as a learner and challenge themselves. I hope that you have learned the differences between these two school boards by the analysis presented. Thank you.